Alright, so I just wanted to talk about what it takes, in my opinion, to be a successful TO. I'm not saying that I'm the most successful TO. I have a lot of problems and I have a lot of faults that I want to improve, but I feel like these are the three main things I aspire to and what I think you should consider aspiring to as well if you want to become a tournament organizer. So I think the three main things that you need to be a good TO is you need to love. Yeah, and that sounds really corny, but I'll explain what I'm saying. I feel like if you ever want to have the drive to do anything in TOing, TOing is a really it's not a thankless job because a lot of people really do thank you, but at a low level, no one really rewards you. It's a very unrewarding job. It feels good when a good tournament is organized well and things finish on time and everyone's like, hey, it's good job, but you're not going to be getting money out of it unless you're hosting a Evo or something like that. But you're not going to get money for it. You're not going to get job opportunities from it. You're not going to get anything really tangible. So I think to have the fire to be able to do everything and make sure, ruthlessly, with little ruth, you need to go through things and make sure they're perfect. You need to really love the community, love organizing a fast thing. You really need to love doing all these things, or else I feel like if you don't have that motivation, it's hard to do the important things, and you'll be like, oh, I'll do them next time, I'll do them, I'll do them later, we can worry about that later. I feel like that creates a subpar event, and that's the exact opposite of what we want. I think that you really, really need to be caring about the growth of the scene and be friendly. I think the best thing I did as a TO when I started was I was just friendly. I'm not trying to push myself up or anything, but I was just willing to talk to people, when I see the guy that's come and played and then left after he 2-0'd twice, just legit saying hello and hey, you want to play a bit, is worth so much to certain types of people. Some people are outgoing and they'll make friends on their own, but some people are just sort of going there waiting for someone to talk to them. And I think as a TO, it's almost your responsibility to be willing to go out there and make sure that they're enjoying themselves, because I think a lot of these people who come to tournaments for the first time are really, really scared and really, really worried about how people think of them. And it's just, I feel like it's worth so much to just go out and say, hey, and what's up. I think it means a lot more to them than the energy it takes to do it. So I think if you want to build your scene, I think that's the best way to do it. If there's someone that they want to come back to and be friends with, then it becomes it goes beyond the game. You start actually building a community. And last of all, I think you have to be ruthless. I see a lot of people who just let other people sort of take over or hijack certain parts. I'm not advocating being an asshole, but if someone's stepping on your toes and trying to do toe the line, you just got to be no, you're off. If someone's saying they keep going up to commentary when you told them no, these other people are doing commentary, you just got to cut them off. You can't let people walk all over you, because then no one will listen to what you have to say. You have to really remain in control, and sometimes you do have to be a bit of an asshole, which sucks because I don't like being an asshole. I do sort of, but I don't like having to tell the 13-year-old kid, fuck off that setup because it's not friendly, but you have to, because if you want to run a cutthroat perfect tournament, you have to be cutthroat. You can't pretend to be cutthroat and then pat them on the back later and be like, oh hey, we're good mates. You really got to tell them no, get off that, not to do that. You really can't let people make you their bitch, or else no one is going to listen to you. So I think all three of those are like the main points. I think there's other stuff that really matters that I'll just go over a bit now. I think that you need to be able to think things through and see stuff from all perspectives, because if you can't do that, there might be something, hitting you right in the eye, like really obvious, something like right there, and you're just too focused on this one perspective, and then you go forward with that one perspective and it turns out that wasn't the answer, and it was just this thing you just ignored all the time. Like I was like super against, I was a bit overzealous with making our stream really good, so I wanted people to come to the monthly dressed in suits and in a 35-degree room in suits, and I was like, no, we want to keep it, and I told my stream guy, like, no, we want to keep it professional. I didn't really think about the consequences this had, like who the hell is going to commentate when they have to all come in suits, for Christ's sake, So I did that, and no one wanted to commentate because they all had to come in suits. So it really wasn't for the good, and I was letting my sort of ego and my bullheadishness get to the better of me. So you need to know when to say, okay, I'm wrong, and then admit that you're wrong. I think that's also a very important thing. Knowing that you have to admit when you're wrong is the toughest thing you can do as a TO, because you sort of build up this sort of where it's like, I'm TO, I make all the decisions, I do everything right, but you don't. You'll never get everything right. You never ever will get anything right at the start. Don't get discouraged, by the way, if you're just starting TOing and everything's going wrong, because nothing will go right when you start TOing. I also think it's really important that you're taking a lot of information from a lot of sources. Because I started in Melbourne, I had lots of really, really good TOs to take from. I had DreadTech, who was sort of like my mentor, and he taught me basically everything about TOing. The first thing he ever sent to me was like this 1,000-word essay on why my seeding was terrible and that my event was horrible, and since there it's been a great relationship. I've had Attila, who's like the big boy of TOing forever. I have like a big strong backbone who taught me a lot of things about seeding, about making pools, about all this important TO stuff. But it's also important that you take stuff from your peers. You grow a team, in my opinion. If you're just calling all the shots by yourself and you don't really have anyone to shoot the shit over, chew the fat, as they say, then I feel like, once again, you don't get those perspectives, and you might move on in a foolish way that isn't for the people or for anyone. So I really do believe that, one, you need to really be kind, that you really need to know when to admit your mistakes. When you have a team of people, and even better, because not everyone has this, even better if you have mentors that can help you, because you're never going to get it right, and that you also are ruthless and you don't let anyone walk over you. I think being a TO is never easy. You will never get it right the first time, and if you're TOing right now, I don't think, if you're TOing and you feel like you're not doing a good enough job, I think you need to assess these sort of ideas and what your goals are for TOing. And obviously there's stuff where it's time-wise, time-wise your events are running too late. Well, that might be because you're running, best of 5 from 8-man, and maybe you don't have the time for that. Maybe you only have top 3 can be best of 5, or maybe you're gonna have best of 5s like Xanadu because you have too many people. It's all about being flexible and understanding that. So if you're a new TO, or you're a TO who feels like they're having trouble running these events, I think you really need to continue to think about what makes a good TO and try and emulate that, but also be flexible enough to adapt with your location and your situations. So yeah, that's about it. Anyway guys, this is Pudge, signing off.